Today's video is going to be all about having a running coach. I personally think having a running coach is super beneficial. Your coach can help hold you accountable. They can do all the thinking behind the training while you do the running. And of course, your coach can help you achieve some running goals that you may have. Your running coach can also further educate you about the sport. In my opinion, I think it's always so important to have someone, a level higher than you that knows a little bit more to give you the knowledge and the education that you can receive to become a better runner. So if you are debating whether or not you should be hiring a running coach, in my opinion, there are some things that you should consider. First thing you should consider is whether or not you struggle with accountability. For me, I know that if I coach myself, that I would just push off the workout to the next day and then to the next day. And then also I would always think that my workout was enough for that day and to call it quits after it got challenging. That said, having a coach is literally someone that holds you responsible for the training plan. Next thing you should think about are your running goals. If I didn't have a coach, I don't think I would be running to my fullest potential. There can also be kind of a lot of unknowns in training. There are so many different directions and routes that you can go. So especially if you have little experience, it's so valuable to have a coach that takes care of all the guesswork. So for example, for me, although I am trying to learn the ins and outs of coaching, I know there would be so much guessing if I train myself. I would always be wondering if I'm running the right pace for the workout or if I'm giving myself the right amount of recovery. So to take care of that and to give me the full confidence that I need in my training and then taking that to race day, for me, investing in a coach was super important. If you are looking to race a certain distance or hit a certain time, maybe hiring a coach would benefit you. Because like I was saying, there are just so many unknowns with training and you want to make sure you're doing the right workouts, the right recovery days, the right mileage in order to reach your goals. Another thing that you should be considering is cost. So I'm going to be honest, hiring a running coach usually does require a decent amount of money. So if it's something that you are interested in, you definitely should keep that in mind when you're researching for the right coach for you. For me, although I could be saving the money I'm using to have a running coach, I just know how passionate and committed I am for my running goals, and for me, that's worth it. Now, there were some coaches that I did have to rule out because of the cost, but there are plenty of great coaches out there with reasonable prices and hopefully a price that works for you. After considering those few things, now it's time to actually find the right coach. There are so many options on the internet, probably a little bit too many, and when you're researching, it can be a bit overwhelming. To narrow things down, in my opinion, there are some important things that you should look for when researching the best coach for you. The first thing you should look for in a coach is experience. Who is this coach and what experience do they have? When I actually started looking for a coach, I actually started by looking at different athletes that I follow. I follow many different distance runners on Instagram, many who achieve the OTQ for the marathon. So I started by researching them and then seeing who their coaches were. Most coaches that I came across had plenty of experience coaching different athletes, and a lot of those athletes experienced tons of success. Kind of going hand in hand with experience, the next thing you want to look for in a coach is credibility. You want to make sure that your coach has the proper education and certifications in order to provide you a legitimate training plan. Now, I do think it is possible to become a good coach without, a certification. There are tons of books and resources out there on the internet to learn about how to create a good training plan, but what I have noticed, the coaches with the most experience do have a few certifications under their belt. So the third thing that you should look for, and something that's really important to me, is communication. So some runners thrive off kind of a one-time training plan that a coach writes for them and doesn't really need any contact with them further on. Now for me, I'm somebody who really wants contact with a coach so I can express my concerns, ask questions, and also share my accomplishments with. For me, an open line of communication is absolutely essential to have with a coach. So if that's something that is also important to you, having that open line of communication, make sure that that potential running coach has that option in their training plans before diving in. All right, so kind of going off that as well, something else else that you should consider is personality. So kind of going off my last point, a great coach for someone else might not be a great coach for you. There are so many different styles of coaching nowadays, and some people might thrive off more of like intimidation factor and the scary factor from the coach, while others might thrive off more of a friendship type relationship with their coach. You can also ask yourself whether or not your coach is confrontational, and you can consider how your coach responds after a disappointment or if a workout doesn't go well. Something else for me that goes with the personality is whether or not a coach motivates you and supports you and encourages you before a hard workout or a race. So with all those things considered, I definitely recommend having a phone call or two with your potential running coach, just so you can spend some time getting to know them and then they can get to know you as well. So with all of the options out there on the internet, it is important to remember and to keep in mind that it might take more than one chance to find the right coach for you. I think it's also important to be able to recognize when a coach might not be the right fit for you. You want your coach to help you grow your relationship in the sport and continue to love it, and then also stay healthy as well. It is my hope that the tips in this video help you find the right coach for you sooner rather than later, so you can get the most out of your investment and then the most out of your training. Okay, so if you have any other tips or considerations when looking for a running coach, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I hope you found this video helpful. In the description box, I am going to give some links to some coaches and some clubs that I'm kind of familiar with and that I've researched when I was looking for a coach. So I hope that helps you, and I hope this video helps you along your running journey and potentially finding a coach. If you made it this far, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for watching. I would love for you to click the like button and subscribe to my channel. I will see you in my next video, but until then, happy running.